What's up, family? Let's talk. I used to think changing locations would change me. Different country, different scenery, different currency. I thought maybe a new environment would automatically produce a new version of myself. But I've learned something more important, something more pertinent. Nothing changes until you do. It sounds elementary, it sounds primary, but in fact, until that idea sits in your mind, the shift in your mind will not come. This channel used to be something different. Random moments, travel clips, and observations. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I've been thinking, if I'm evolving, since I'm evolving, my platform should evolve too. It can't just be about where I go, for me to show you where I go. It has to reflect how I think, how I move, how I build. Welcome to Paradigm Shift with Frank P. I'm in a season of my life where showing up for myself is no longer optional. It's required. It's of mandatory importance, of paramount importance. No more drifting, no more depending on systems that weren't built with me in mind, just decisions and discipline. I'm in Thailand right now, but I live and work in China. And that shift in my life opened my mind in ways that I could not have imagined. Not just about the world, but about myself and what I'm capable of when I step outside of what I was used to, what was familiar to me. Because once you leave what's familiar, you start seeing things completely differently. You start seeing how much of your thinking was shaped by where you were and how much of your potential was limited by what you accepted. Because once you step outside of one system, you start realizing something. There isn't just one way to live. There isn't just one path. There isn't just one structure. And that realization, it stays with you. You cannot unsee it. You can't unknow it. You can't go back to thinking small once you've seen what's possible. And that changes you. It forces you to think bigger, to move differently, to stop building a life based on limitations and start building one based on intention. Sometimes a man doesn't need noise. He needs space to think clearly, space to be honest with himself, space to sit with his own thoughts, without distractions, without performance, space to ask, am I building a life that can sustain me, or one that depends on everything around me? Am I moving with intention, or just reacting to whatever life throws at me? Because when it gets quiet, you start hearing the truth, the plain truth, the naked truth. This is what peace looks like. Not the absence of pressure, but the presence of direction. Knowing you're building something that holds, no matter where you are. A good man minding his business, focused, disciplined, building something that travels with him, not tied to one place, not dependent on one system, just intentional about how he lives. And for a lot of us, that kind of life doesn't come by accident. You have to think your way into it. You have to build your way into it. Most people, they inherit a structure and they never question it. Whether good or bad or indifferent, they just live and operate inside of that structure. Once you notice the shift and step outside of it, you realize something powerful. You can design your life differently. And that's where the responsibility comes in. And the truth is, a lot of people want that freedom, but they're not building for it. They want options, but without structure. They want independence without discipline. Most want the freedom, but are still depending on systems that can change at any moment. But real freedom, it's built slowly, intentionally. Build a system that supports your life, not control it. Real independence, real flexibility, real freedom is something that has to be built with intentionality. Living in between countries, it teaches you something if you're paying attention. Every system is different. Every place has its own system. Every system has a structure. And once you see that clearly, you start asking yourself, what kind of system am I building for my own life? Because your environment can influence you, but it can't sustain you. That part is on you. There comes a point where a man has to decide, am I going to keep adjusting to systems, or am I building something that gives me options? And building something real, it takes discipline, it takes focus, it takes showing up, even when you don't feel like it, even when nobody sees it. I'm not here to tell you everything because we're all still learning. We're all still children under the eyes of God. But some things are meant to be built quietly. So I will say this: if you want a life with flexibility, with movement, with real independence, you have to plan for it. You have to build for it, because you don't stumble into that kind of life. Because time doesn't wait, and potential means nothing if you don't structure your life around it. And being here, watching the water, this isn't about escaping life. It's to think differently, to move differently, to live differently. It's about thinking bigger than where you started, designing something that moves with you, not something that traps you. This is what a paradigm shift looks like. Not loud, not dramatic, just a decision to build a life differently. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's unlock our minds.